Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Today, I want to dive a little bit deeper into our Microsoft Graph Toolkit discussion, especially around some of our Teams components that we have built in to the Graph Toolkit. First, my name is Sébastien Levert. I am a senior program manager on the Graph Toolkit team, also doing other stuff, but the focus of today is really around the Graph Toolkit. Just as a recap, what is the Graph Toolkit? Well, the Graph Toolkit is a collection of reusable, framework-agnostic components and authentication providers that allows you to work with Microsoft Graph. So think about ready-made controls focused on productivity scenarios that are pre-connected to Microsoft Graph. So you don't have to build any of them. You don't have to rebuild a user control. You don't have to rebuild a Teams channel picker. You don't have to rebuild any of these scenarios. They're already built, they're already available, and they work flawlessly in any type of web framework. Think React, Angular, Vue.js, jQuery, Handlebar, or whatever your favorite framework is. We work on all modern browsers because we're using a standard way of building components, which is the web components standard, which is now pretty much available on all modern browsers. Why would you build it using the Graph Toolkit? First, because you're going to cut on development time. You won't have to rebuild these things. You're just going to have to leverage some of them inside your app and build your business value on top of it rather than just building another control that connects to Microsoft. Still, you want to make it beautiful. Maybe you like the way Microsoft 365 looks like, or maybe you're building an app that really fits within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. You're good to go. You have nothing to do. That's what we provide out of the box. But there's always a way to make it flexible so you can bring your own style guides, your own colors, your own styling to these controls so they feel a little bit more natural inside your applications. And finally, it just works everywhere. You want to build within Teams, you want to build a SPA, you want to build a SharePoint framework web part, or maybe you want to build an Electron application. Well, all of them will make these controls fully shine. So today's focus is about our Teams channel picker. Teams channel picker allows a user to go in, start typing for a team or for a channel, and being able to select a channel. We can think about some scenarios that this can deliver. Maybe you want to send a message to a channel as part of your line of business application to spark a conversation, or maybe even to, I don't know, to reply to an existing thread that exists in that channel. Well, that's exactly one of the scenarios we're thinking about. Maybe you also just want to select a channel to create a meeting within that channel. Or maybe you want to select a channel to identify the files that are linked to that channel. All of these different scenarios are absolutely relevant in this case, and that's what the control really is all about. Now, enough with the slides. We're here to show a little bit of code. So let me dive into that scenario right away. So let me open it up. We are using the same simple application we've been using for the last couple of weeks. All of that is available already on GitHub. You can go to aka.ms/mgt/sandbox. That's going to lead to a GitHub repo that you can get and start playing with this solution right away. So first, we're going to focus on kind of the general scenario here. So I wanted to show I'm in Teams. That's all the different teams that I have across the board, the retail, US sales, communications, and all of that. So let me go back to my app here. The first scenario that I want to highlight is a Teams channel picker for the currently signed in user. So the only thing you have to do is you're looping in our CDN version of MGT using this script tag here, which basically loads MGT in any type of HTML page. It's going to load everything it needs, bring all the references, bring all the different components. And you're basically just using this here, using the MGT Teams channel picker. No configuration because it's really built for the connected user. We're using the joined teams API from Microsoft Graph. We're also using some groups API to go a little bit deeper in that story, but that's really the configuration that you have here. So it makes the MGT Teams channel picker a very easy to use component because it offers very few configuration because it's all around the connected user. So first, you might want to select a channel. We have an experience that as soon as you click on the text box, that here, kind of the search box, you're going to automatically get an initial call that will bring all the different teams that you're a part of. And will also allow you to navigate and find some of the channels you want, like, for example, Sales East. But sometimes, maybe you're like me and you have like maybe a little bit too many teams that are available in your teams. Maybe you're part of hundreds of teams, but you know exactly what you're looking for. I'm looking for the Sales East channels, but I don't know where it is. It's a little bit lost. I can go here and say Sales East, and automatically it's going to highlight this. So it's kind of a way to filter the current channels to make it as easy as possible. And then the only thing you have to do is you click on it and automatically it's going to select this. Now the experience here, I wouldn't say it doesn't offer a lot, but the only thing we see here is that it's selected this channel. We're going to move a little bit further down the road to not only do this, but also react to the data that was actually selected thanks to some of our other components that we have. So second scenario I want to highlight is that one here. So let me uncomment this here, which brings a Teams channel picker for the currently signed in user, but we want to know who are the members of that team. So let me just save here. It just reloaded my HTML page. And when I'm looking at the second area, what we're doing here is I'm literally delivering a scenario where when I'm going to select one of these channels, we will be using the MGT people component. And here you see it here. We're going to show a maximum of 10. We're going to highlight the presence of these users. And by code, I'm going to come here and I'm going to identify which group ID I want to leverage here. So I'm going to showcase all the people that are in the currently selected group ID. So let me show you the code quickly before we go into the demo. The code is very simple. When you're going to do a Teams picker, when you're going to do a change of selection, when I'm going to change what is the team that is underneath that I'm selecting, if I have more than one detail or more than 0 details, in that case, I do have a team that was selected. It's not, I haven't cleared it. I selected a team. I will be assigning the group ID of this control, this team group ID being my MGT people component. And the beauty of web components is that you can add native properties to out-of-the-box HTML control. So in that case, I can set the group ID here to be the ID of the team that was just selected. Then I'm going to basically display this control afterwards. So let me go through the example here. I click here. I go to my communications channel. I select my general. And now I see that I have 6 people that are inside this group of people. So it can be also a way for you to select a channel. You could also leverage some private channels from the APIs. And then afterwards, you can maybe either send a message to one of these folks, can go here and send an email, start a chat, see the entire people person card here, or whatever you want to do with this. So it's easy to connect the selection of one of these channels with anything you want, in this case, with another MGT control that we already covered, which is the MGT people. So let's go and have a look at another scenario where this could even drive more value. So think about maybe you're building a project-oriented line of business application, and you want to notify all of the folks that are in a specific channel because, well, you want to tell them that you accomplished something, you want to report back on the status of a work item, anything. So one of the things that I've been doing here is I've been using the same approach, again, an MGT Teams channel picker, and I have a text area and a button here. I'm using the Fluent Web Components version of it. It could have been just a regular text area and a regular button. And what I'm going to do is, via code, I'm going to add some functions that will automatically get that the information from the selected channel. And what I'm going to do is the text area will allow me to add some text. And I'm going to have a send message button that will automatically send a message to the actual selected channel that was selected. So it means that in Teams, people will see a message popping up. So let me go a little bit down here where I have this capability here. So when I'm going to click on the send message button, I will be going and getting the data about the picker. The picker is the one that I just created. I will be able to select it, select the channel, and automatically it's going to create a selected item object on our control. If I'm logged in, which is highly possibly the case in this instance, but I always want to make sure that I'm signed in so I can do calls to graph, I will go and grab an instance of the graph client that is available as part of MGT. So here we're really talking about a little bit more advanced scenario where I can get an authenticated graph client to do any type of JavaScript call with the graph. So any calls to graph, as long as we have the right scopes and permissions, this will allow me to do these calls. I will be able to go here, call my graph client to this specific API, which in that case is my /teams. I can specify the ID of the team and specific channel, which is that ID. I will be able to post a message, and the message content will be the value of the text area that I have. When we're done, I'm just going to do a simple alert on that the message was sent. So let me show you how it works. Let me go to my communications channel. I'm going to go to the general channel. I'm going to say, hello, M365 platform community call folks. Going to hit send message. Then it's going to hit this code, and automatically it's going to send to graph. And now I have a message sent that was just delivered here. If I go here, I just found like that a second ago, my message was sent. So it's not only to retrieve data and to select data, but you can also, with the help of the client that is built into MGT, you can also perform action on graph and add new data, post some of that data elsewhere. Finally, one last demo that I wanted to do today, which is our capabilities to templatize or to add some templating to the experience. So what does it mean? It means that compared to other controls in MGT, we're keeping the experience around the channel picking very specific to the control. But if you don't like the loading experience, or if you don't like the no data experience, you can bring in your own experience in there. You can bring your own template to replace them, to make them fit a little bit more your brand or the way that you're interacting with your apps in general. So in that case, for example, when I'm using the MGT Teams channel picker, I have the way to specify, you know what, I want to override the template that is called error. We have two templates for this control, the error template and the loading template. So when I'm going to have an error or I won't find any data, I will just add a P here, a paragraph with sorry, no teams or channels were found. And when it's loading, I'm going to have the loading results here that will be shown. So when I do this, this one was already loaded. So we're skipping the loading results here. But if I say test Seb, well, now my sorry, no teams or channels were found is now the template that is being used. So there's really a lot of customization opportunities that lies inside the MGT controls. And I highly advise to look at those to really make them feel natural for your users to have the same types of behaviors that we see around the rest of your application. So let me go back very quickly to slides to sum it up. We went through a demo, a couple of resources. Feel free to come into our repo, aka.ms/mgt, our docs, our issues. The samples that I'm using for this series of calls are available in aka.ms/mgt/sandbox. You can play around with our Graph Toolkit playground without even having to install or develop anything. So aka.ms/mgt/dev. And if you want to learn and see all the different learn modules that we have to become an MGT expert, you can go and learn over there. Back to you, Vesa.
Thank you, Sébastien, and really cool stuff.